the top of the Empire State Building.
This is not even real to me that I'm talking to you guys.
So this is all because your niece we're sending crystals to?
My niece?
Sister?
Oh no, I am Crystal.
No, I know. I thought you said like one of your friends sent you of TikTok and then I was going to send her crystals.
Oh, maybe it was someone else.
No, I got it in a text. You said.
Was it David?
No, I'll read it to you.
I didn't text you.
Who's Crystal Z100?
That's me, but that's not my number.
Spencer, what's good? Spencer, it's Crystal from Z100. I said, yo, and she said, can you give me a shout out because she told me about your TikToks? I'll call you very, yeah, this is a prank call.
What is the number?
People are good. 1-845-544-9121. Oh my gosh, that's good. Well, this is fame. I never had this level of. I'll block this person. That is wild. Okay. Well,
I would not ask you for things.
Oh no, they were like, my niece is wanting to show me your guys' TikToks. Could you she'd love a crystal? I was like, great. Yeah, the office is locked down, but definitely send you some crystals.
I am not okay. Okay. Who?
My God.
All right, Spencer Pratt, a father, a worldwide TV personality, entrepreneur, and healing crystal enthusiast. Best known with his wifey, Heidi Montag, their roles on MTV's The Hills, where their relationship became a cultural touch print. Appearing on several shows, including I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, Celebrity Big Brother UK, The Hills, New Beginning, a combined 4 million followers, just hit 1 million on TikTok, and you guys have become prominent digital influencers. While documenting the tragedy of your family losing their homes in the recent LA fires, Spencer, you've become one of the most talked about celebrities in the internet, making sure that your wifey Heidi is the center of everything you do, connecting your audiences throughout candidly hilarious and relatable storytelling, dynamic content. Spencer Pratt, can you please introduce the queen of your life?
First off, can you text me that from my notes app? Because I want that to be my email, like where it says sent on iPhone and then below it, just that paragraph. But let's introduce the global pop star, #1 in America, charting on Billboard 200. That's what the chart data is saying for this upcoming week. The one and only, the superficial pop star, Heidi Montag.
What an intro.
I think Crystal was better than mine. I was like, dang.
This is so cool that I'm talking to you guys. Thank you so much. We've all been following you guys for so long, hearing your story and even the evolution that you guys have had through TikTok. And now seeing how your guys' strength, your energy, your faith has taken you guys to these crazy levels. How are you feeling?
Thank you so much for having us on. It's the highest highs and the lowest lows, which we're used to, within our career and our relationship. And this is just completely a different level. We're the most thankful for the support and everyone streaming my music and buying my music and helping us in any way we can. And any positivity has just been unbelievable. And then it's just crazy and tragic, and every other minute I'm just like breaking down crying. So it's like it's a lot, and I just continue to just like pray through it and breathe through it. And I'm really thankful for everything that we have, and our heart breaks for our community and our friends and everything that everyone we know is going through. And we're just really trying to figure out how to get our lives rebuilt and rebuild our community and everyone around us at the same time. So we're just trying to do what we can and see what happens. But right now, what is the light in the darkness is everybody really rallying behind my music and blessing me to be #1. And it's just that's been amazing.
It is so cool to see that. It's also such a blessing to see that you guys are doing this while you're raising a family. I have so much admiration for you guys. I want to be a mommy one day and I want to have a family just like you. So, what are the kiddos saying about all this? Do they know?
Gunnar has been so invested because ever since Heidi's All Do It, like, because she already was a global pop star in China or like a year ago, and with billions of streams, that's why we started working on this, all these new records we have before any of this. So Gunnar has been such a big part of like, we'll play him a song and like kind of let him A&R it. And he's like, what's your opinion? He'll two thumbs or one thumb down. And then our 2-year-old, like if it's a hit, he dances like a machine. So I think he's realizing because he's seeing like all this talk and we keep saying mom's number one and this, and he understands number one and something and like winning. And so I think it's been so great for him. And now all these major people are sending records for Heidi. So now he's A&Ring like I like the superstars. I'm texting back a video of him in the car on the way to school and he's like, it's good, and I'm like just sending it like trolling, this is like, so it's so fun.
Oh, the babies are loving it. They're a part of it. And I'm gonna go through what's happening with the music. I'm going through the crystals and all the things. If I do have to go back to the beginning, because Heidi, you mentioned right away that you knew Spencer was the one. Can you take us back to that moment and why you were so certain and how proud you are that you knew that with yourself? Because looking at what you guys are doing together for your family after this tragedy.
It was the best risk I ever took.
Risk.
I had people saying like, you're going to be off the show and you're not going to be a part of this anymore. And I was like, you know what? It's worth that because wherever my journey ends up with Spencer is worth.
It wasn't a hit show yet. She wasn't risk leaving a hit show. It was just season one. Just say it's not like you're leaving.
You know what? Anyways, when I met Spencer, he's just so charismatic and charming and confident and handsome and just like everything and his energy. I just was obsessed with him right when I met him, and it felt different. And I dated a few guys, so I felt like I had a good gauge of, the different energy and level. And so like right when I met him, I just really thought it was love at first sight for me. And we had a up and down, we were really young too. And you kind of question like, all right, am I just like, being silly? But I really always felt that in my heart, and I think about it a lot. And I just always felt like that was spoken to me, that this is like my soulmate and love of my life. And quickly it felt like we had been together for a long time. And once we teamed up and got on the same page, and we've just always worked well together. We've shared every parts of our lives together and really thrived with that. So that's why it's always been so fun in our career, even when it wasn't the most positive thing or whatever was going on, because we were just together and that love always just held us up.
And Spencer, how did you feel when you had just met Heidi and she was telling everyone that she wanted to marry you and she was in love with you? And where was your mind at?
She was not saying that to anyone. Maybe that was in her head. She was telling everyone I was obsessed with her, and that's you.
Obsessed with me.
Oh my God. This storyline is scripted. It was great. It was great. She was a really good dancer.
How was your recollection of it, Spencer?
I mean, that sums it up. She's a really good.
No, but you were right, Heidi, when you were saying like the ups and the downs. You guys have been married for 15 years, and that's so hard to do in these days. I mean, I just got engaged in hearing your guys' what you've been through, and even having to take a step back and reassess if this is really what's right for you, but you guys did. So what do you think has been that secret to keeping you guys' bond so strong through those ups and downs?
What do you recall, Spencer?
Heidi's positivity. Heidi is that's why.
Yeah.
No, no matter what, she's always like, God's going to use everything for good. It's God's timing. Like her faith is, sometimes like I say, it's annoying, but I'm like, well, when, honey, like, I mean, I've been saying for 15 years, like, when's this album going to hit? And then, God's timing, that's what a lot of people, it's so funny. like how smart some people are on TikTok. They were saying that this has been just waiting for now for us. Like it wasn't supposed to be in 2010. We needed this album the most right now. And even if it'd been a hit, this is a great point somebody said on TikTok. We would have spent all that money. It would have been in that house. We probably would have had a bigger house in the Palisades, and all that would have burned down. So it's like it was protected. This album's been like just, I don't know, somebody, I wish I knew the TikTok handle. That's a good thing about watching TikToks till 4 a.m. You get to hear just all sorts of amazing perspectives. I was like, this is the Holy Spirit talking to me.
It's to you too, and getting engaged and everything.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we are grounded in our faith, but Spencer, you were talking about how you had some problems, and we don't have to get into that exactly, but I was thankful that you were vulnerable about why the church or that certain church hurt you, like that pastor that was just kind of not so welcoming.
Again, I understand he clearly had some like threats maybe to his life or whatever. So that's his own.
Yeah.
And so it's not personal. I just couldn't go back there because I pee a lot and I drink, not lately. I haven't been drinking any water, but I have to get up. So this church ain't going to work then. I can't hold it like everybody else in here because I must drink more water and more coffee and more tea, and I'm just more hydrated. So it wasn't like, it was a great message in there. I didn't really like the one time I felt like he did the whole crystal thing. People who would have stones and crystals or,
Yeah.
I don't know what that. So that was also felt targeting. I kept telling Heidi, but it is what it is. That church doesn't exist as it was. So everything happens how it's supposed to happen.
No, I hear you. When you were saying that you get up and pee, I was like, bro, that is me. Like, how many times I pee this is just unruly. So if someone's like, you shouldn't get up, that's not gonna work.
And I was in the last like by the door. Like I'm just like
trying. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm sitting in the door. And so it's but,
No, but yeah.
Heidi is my church. She had she does every night. She reads the devotional. I listened.
Me too. Yes.
No, I'm not trying to. It's just like, and the word in John, and I'm like, but so one day I look forward to her having a place where she can have other people and have just anyone can pee whenever they want, and be a nice, welcoming, chill church that I'll attend.
No, but Spencer, your love for crystals and that energy, I mean, that's cool too. That's your thing, and we love how passionate you are about that. The crystal was getting good energy.
Yeah, and I always argue with people that don't understand Jesus because they shouldn't be attacking me and even commenting on my faith, but they're always like, you should be worshiping crystals. Your house burned down because you're a crystal. I'm like, I love crystals like I love the ocean and trees and hummingbirds. It's just they're all here on the earth. I believe God put all this stuff here for us to enjoy. I obviously have not gotten any magical powers in the last 17 years with crystals, and the ones now, the best thing that's ever happening right now, I have no crystals. They all shatter, but some crystal keeper, I read it on TikTok. They sent me this whole thing about when crystals break, there's like a whole transformation thing. And she was like, the amount of crystals you had that broke in your house, like, I don't know, it was so heavy again. Another one was like, oh my gosh. So it was like all of our crystals breaking and burning down actually may have made them actually magical. I was like, oh.
Whoa.
Okay.
Because you know so much, Spencer. If you can assign a crystal to Heidi, which crystal would be Heidi's?
Oh, right now, it'd definitely be like a kunzite crystal because it's like a heart chakra and she loves the color pink and it's like more gemstony. And I feel like what she's battling every second is just so much of her heart. So just extra, but she's good. She's praying. So don't worry, anyone.
What about your own crystal?
So this right here, the most famous crystal carver in the whole world. We're talking like the Picasso of crystal carvers. Years ago, he messaged me how much he loves hummingbirds, and he carved me this ametrine crystal pendant. That's the most insane like museum piece ever. I hope it made it out of the house. I'll just grab random ones in my backpack. I don't even want to know about it. But he just DM'd me, saw what happened, and he's like, I mined all this opal 10 years ago, and in this certain mine in Oregon. And I polished it all. I want you to have it and do whatever you want. So this package just arrived, and I just put these opals on from this mine that this legend, like he's like a wizard out of Lord of the Rings type dude. So I
Oh,
about
cool.
5 minutes. So it's like, ooh.
Yes, you feel it.
I'm like, I'm not selling any of these. He was like, hopefully you can sell these on your site when your shop's back. I'm like, no, mine.
Oh, oh, no, it's beautiful. And that was so nice that he did that. I feel like everyone's been helping you guys out because, I mean, seeing what you guys have gone through and the world is aching for you both, losing your homes and the wildfires. And what's so interesting is that you shared that love heart-shaped burn in your son's bed. And just how are you using this perspective where you are now to inspire and support others that are facing similar challenges?
I'm just trying to stay positive. I said earlier in an interview that I once had this healer on this reality show, and we were doing this fake laughing, and I was like, why are we doing fake laughing? He's like, it tricks your brain into giving you the dopamine of a real laugh. So all day long, I'm just like, I'm so happy. This is so great,
Oh,
But then like
dang.
a wave of like reality tries to like sink in, and then you'll just be like hysterically crying. But you just gotta like get through it. That's all. I mean, that's all we're doing. It's not like my mom, she's on the other end of this, and it's like I'm like, Mom, and she just can't see any light at any end of the tunnel, which obviously is a lot harder for people other than us because we are getting all this support and all this love, and so many people around the world are messaging us positivity. And so it's hard for me to put myself in these because I don't know what I would do without so many people behind us. So you know, I don't know.
Oh man. Well, and I have heard before that laughter is medicine. So, and I see that for you when you hit 1 million and you're like, all it took was my house to burn down. And that's how I described my mom to you of the humor that you had, because the worst thing in the world has happened to you guys as so many people, but you're just like, I hit 1 million. And that like I laughed, I cackled when I saw you do that, because to have that type of positivity and humor along the tragic things that are happening, that's really special. And that's what you're giving to a lot of people right now.
Heidi was like, are you really going to post that? She's like,
Incest?
she's like, don't post that. I'm like, honey, it's dark humor. It's all,
Yeah.
like,
No, I wasn't
was like-
sure if it would like.
we're in a tragedy. So he was just like, oh, that is like, oh my God.
But the people that get it. And I mean, everyone is just with you guys. Now I have to focus on the music because we are just Heidi all behind you. I mean, we know what's going to happen, that you're going to hit #1, but I want to go back to the beginning of Superficial when you first started working. What was your vision for the album? How did you want it to define you as an artist?
I always loved pop and Britney Spears growing up, as everyone did, and that was our generation, and that was my biggest dream. So I wanted to do a pure pop album, and it was kind of the end of pop as we knew it, and and it was still transitioning, and the whole industry was kind of changing, and I really wanted that pure Britney dance pop album. So we really sought after a lot of people. We started off with David Foster, and he offered us a record deal. We ended up going in a different direction, but he was really great, and that kicked it off in a big way. It's like, oh my gosh, we're already talking to the top people in this industry, because Spencer obviously did Princess of Malibu with David Foster and had a great rapport with him. So that was really big. And then we kind of went independent and guerrilla style, and we're negotiating for every single track and just took it track by track. And we did that for about 1.5 years or maybe 2 years, and paid, for everything out of our pocket. We ended up getting Kathy Dennis, who wrote Toxic for Britney Spears. She wrote Turn Your Head, and she wrote Look On. We had like several tracks from her, Blackout. And then we got LP, who was an up and coming songwriter, who later went on to write for Rihanna, and Stacey Barth, who is also an up-and-coming songwriter and later went on to write for Rihanna as well. But we just had like the best in the industry, and we had Dave Pensato and Jason Joshua and Bernie Grubman. They mixed and mastered everything. So it just had the A1 quality through and through. And we just really believed in it. And then I performed at Miss Universe, and that was huge and my only performance until recently. But yeah, that was just an incredible journey. It was really our hopes and dreams that we put into it, and we A&R'd every single record on there.
Heidi would be negotiating, like some of these music producers, this is in 2008, 9. It was, music business was tough, like some real intimidating individuals. And Heidi would be arguing with these tough individuals and like, I don't have that money. Like, and they're like, well, that's the price of the record. She's like, that, so Heidi was like a real, like a music mogul, like because these records, all these records we got were for major labels at the time. We were, trying to get them from, the Interscopes at the time, the Universe, like they were chopping them to major, the artists, and Heidi's trying to get them, and she's trying to pay an indie price. So it was like I always say, the real reality show was the making of Superficial, because second our Fake Hills scenes end, it was music all night long in the studio. Heidi crying to get the vocals of this song right with these, famous singers wanting the best performance out of her. So,
that was a different time in the industry. There wasn't really independent artists, and you're either on the radio or you're selling albums, and that was it. There was no
social media
or anything like that either. There weren't these websites, iTunes like just started. But yeah, it was just a different time in the world and in the industry. And there was, no platforms other than the big platforms.
So then what was going through your head when you were negotiating with these people that they're just so tough to go against? Who did you become? Like, how did you get that inspiration to just go off?
I just always had that dumb blonde angle too. So I was like, okay, well, I don't really have that. So it was easy to just like play that. And then it's, well, if they say no, they say no. But sometimes they're like, all right, well, how about this? And I'm like, oh, I just don't have that. Like, what if it would, so it was easier sometimes. But Spencer did a lot of the work, as he does now. And as everyone can see kind of behind the curtain of Wizard of Oz here. But, we definitely were a team, and he has and continue with lawyers, agents, managers, songwriters, constantly texting and uploading and doing everything. So it was nonstop, like now more than ever. But definitely all that hard work is such a blessing to have it years later. Like Spencer said, it was almost a stock that we were able to invest in and come to fruition years later when we really.
Yeah. So Spencer, how was that time for you with the on your end?
I mean, people always say that was the Thriller, was Heidi's quote. I feel like I was saying it so much, maybe she got quoted saying it, because that was my energy. I believed so much, because when you hear all these songs, like if you take the Superficial album into one of these major recording studios with the sound systems, they are made for stadiums. These are, again, Dave Pensado mixed all these. He's got like probably 25 Grammys, every Christina Aguilera major, like the sounds that come out of speakers that aren't, your headphones or your car, like these are smash hit records. So when you're eating your In-N-Out burger at 2 a.m. hearing these tracks, I was like, oh, this is it. We're done with reality TV. Heidi is going to the moon. And then you got to remember, and I'm not trying to like troll, the Lady Gaga stands, because I would love to get a feature now. But Red One, you can Google it. There's a interview he did with Us Weekly when Red One, who did, I think Just Dance, maybe Poker Face, I don't even know what he did, but he did her major hits. The president of Sony put Heidi, Charlie Walk, put her in the studio with Red One, and they were going to do a full album, and he was going to be a partner. He did an interview saying Heidi has it all. We just did this song Fashion. It's going to be this big hit. And we put it out because Heidi had her clothing line, Heidiwood. And then all of a sudden, things happened fast. And that songwriter, Stephanie, becomes Lady Gaga and takes that song back. So my point is, I was talking with the president, like we were eating sushi in the penthouse of the Sony building with the president of Sony, who's putting us in in the studio with the biggest producer at that time. And he's like, oh, I'm going to make Heidi the biggest star ever. So we got so close to everything coming together. And then obviously I'm not, and then it was said, Lady Gaga was like, no, you're only working with me. And she had the momentum. You know, I feel like the one with that Colby just hit and Akon came into play. Everything came so fast for her. No, I know she built it up. I'm just saying that moment, it was just like Red One's gone. So that was like, you know, we came so close so many times. And then we had a deal with Warner Brothers with Todd Moskowitz when he's the president of Warner. He's like, I'm going to give Heidi a deal, and I'm calling the president MTV, and we'll put this on MTV. And MTV's like, oh no, she works at Brent Bolthouse on our show. We're like, she's like the most famous star. Like nobody believes she's the club girl. And they were like, no, we're not putting the music on. Like nowadays on Bravo, you know, or like Kim Zolciak, Tardy for the Party, they show the music. But The Hills was just all manipulated lies, this fake facade. They wouldn't put the music on. Even Adam DeVillo, who was pretty much our biggest nemesis, the creator, he loved the song Blackout so much, which is a secret hit that I think soon, once people find it, is going to be charting. You know, that's the one people actually love the most. They just haven't discovered it. And he did not like us because he had to be team narrator. And he was like, this song needs to be on the show. And he fought with MTV, and they're like, no, she can't be a singer on this show. She's a club promoter. So many times I've already felt like this, but now I'm feeling it for real. And it's just like the best feeling ever.
Wow, I didn't realize that there's so much that went behind the scenes of like, it wasn't that Heidi's not good or that you're not good at negotiating. It's like you were there, and then like here comes something, or there, and then like something else gets sideswiped, and then here comes like the biggest tragedy ever. And like now, like everybody is.
It's twisted.
It's incredible now, though. It's in the power of the people. And it wasn't ever that way before. It was always in the power of the industry. Who do you know? What to do for you? Political. Now there's finally platforms, you know, like TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram, where people can actually have who they want to win, and put you on the charts and put you on Billboard and put you wherever, you know. So it's been such an unbelievable blessing to have the people have us.
I saw the best TikTok again, and somebody's like, the greatest group project in the history of the internet. And I was like, I've been saying that. I feel like we're in like America, like a live American Idol. Heidi's who they picked, and they're making it no matter what powers that be are trying to stop it. They're like, no, this is who's winning. And I keep saying to Heidi, because now everybody I've been texting for years that's like never responded to me, I'm getting all these texts, and I say, I hate and I love how it works in this world where, you know, people that won't even talk to you are now like, hey, I got this for you, I can do that. I'm like, and I'm not complaining. I'm like, hey, best friend, you know, like, but it's just I love getting to watch. That's the fun part. They always say, and people say, watch like how you treat people when you're like on the ladder, because you never know. And it's whatever the quote is. I'm like, I feel like we're up on the escalator right now.
I love this situation. Just DM'd me and tagged my song, and he's like, the comeback's always greater than the setback. And I was like, I'm actually feeling that, because I felt that for him, and we had him on our podcast.
Yeah.
And I was so happy for him. And he kept saying that to us. He's like, get ready, guys. You're next. And I was like, I don't know. I hope so. But, you know, it's a little different for us. We're not on MTV and all this. But he just reminded me of that. And that's such a good, inspiring quote. And, you know, I'm feeling that.
Yeah, so much love for you guys for the album. Heidi, you said before that you described the album as something deeply personal. Were there any moments during its creation that felt really transformative for you?
Yeah, I mean, all that music did. And it really is like a photo album for me. I can remember where I was and what was happening before and after and what we were doing. So it really sparks a lot of memories for me when I am doing it. You know, Blackout was definitely one of my favorites because it's so how I felt about Spencer. Like, let's black out the satellite. You know, it's just you and I. Where should we run to? And like that heartfelt. I always
speaking one sec, I got to address something that people say about Blackout. Taylor Momsen did not write Blackout when she was 9 years old. Kathy Dennis was obviously put in the studio with a 9-year-old, and maybe let the 9-year-old hum or whatever. But one of the greatest songwriters in the world, who's credited on Blackout, I have a feeling wrote most of the lyrics, but people were like,
We weren't there.
and I'm just saying, it's hard to do, man. She's like, I wrote that when I was like 9. I was like, 9. I don't think so.
I don't believe
I think Kathy Dennis wrote it when you were 9, but it's just some lore out there that I'm always, I had to like argue with somebody. I'm like, give me a break. It's like,
Need.
But yeah, and then Twisted, I always loved it. And I mean, all the songs on there, I'll Do It was always really fun. And it was like, I can do it. I can be that girl. I can do whatever you want. So I loved that because that was so embodying of how I felt, you know. Look How I'm Doing, Superficial. I mean, especially Superficial, it was really empowering for me too. Like, I know how what everyone's saying about me. You know, at first I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Everyone's just going to bash me for it. And Spencer's like, if you're not cutting it, I am. I was like, no, I'm cutting it. I'm cutting it. I'm just saying.
this really happened. I was in the booth. I said, this is such a hit. This guy at Tazio that wrote it, he truly looked like a movie star. He came in, he had his like babies, like the dopest swag character. And he just sat down and he wrote Superficial, like right in front of us. And she's like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, honey, I'm sexy, famous, and I'm rich right now. Like, I'm going in the booth. If you're not cutting this, like, and so that's how I, you know, because she was like nervous about it.
Yeah.
I'm still upset I didn't get to cut it because I think I could have made it.
You could have, but it is one
Can
of
you? Can you hop on the remix?
I mean,
Yeah.
I think
you
that.
can re-record it. I'll give you the license.
Yeah.
Wait, that's funny that you said that because when we think of Spidey, like we do see you, Spencer, like the more kind of like out there, like flashy, and Heidi, you're just like so humble and quiet, and you know, in your own space. So I thought that too, but Superficial, I was like, it's funny that she's recording it because I hear more of Spencer in this.
It's like we just cut this song called 5G, and Heidi doesn't even swear, you know, shut up's a bad word or whatever. And the song comes over from Sherry at RX, this famous publisher, and she's like, I got one for you. This is it. And it's F me and 5G. And it's just, second it comes on, it sounds like a hit. I'm like, I didn't even listen to the lyrics. I'm like, got it. And then the swearing comes on. She's like, can we say, what do you say? Frick me. I'm like, no, honey, we're not changing it to frick me in 5G. Like, you're
a pop star, like you're gonna swear.
Yeah, and her audience, it's changed. I'll look now, but initially, like, because before any of this, she had 1 million 3 monthly listeners leading up to this. So that's why we've been doing music. We're not fully insane. The listening demo is 18 to 24-year-olds. I'm like, they don't say frick, honey. They say that word all day long. Like, and then our age, the demo is 5%. So I'm like, people that are like, I can't believe this mother is saying this. I'm like, well, you don't listen to this music. So, you know, cover your ears.
Cover your ears. It's okay.
So it's funny.
You can bend a little bit. You can bend a little bit. I want to hear from both of you guys. What are some lyrics that are just your favorites from the album? Maybe a line that you're like, oh, this went hard, or I really felt this.
I'll be your blonde tonight. It's just what you like. You know, it's very good.
Yeah. When I was talking to the producer with it, and he was like, well, what kind of song? I was like, one that it's like, I can do it all. Like, I am that woman. I am your fantasy. I can, you know, like, I can do it all. So I do love that. I love what I'm doing too. Like, look at me, baby. Look how I'm doing.
That fancy.
That's so funny.
And people were always just like so negative about all the, you know, the things. So I was just like, you know what? Like, we work hard for this and we are successful and I'm doing it. And you know what? So ha 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 ha. I always love that.
One of my other favorite records that I hopefully people will discover, because right now everyone's just Superficial, I'll do, which is great. But if they keep these on their playlist, one of the best records on the album is Twisted. And it's so unique and there's no other, you know, I almost feel like it's pre-Billie Eilish. Like, you know, this would be what Billie Eilish would be dropping in 2010. So Twisted and Heidi. So LP, she's a famous artist herself with, you know, selling out 100,000 venues. She's so famous. She wrote that with Heidi, and they were in the booth for hours, and she was so hard on Heidi. And Heidi kept coming out crying because it's just so much. She wanted it perfect. And if you listen to the vocals on Twisted, the range is so impressive. And let's rewind back. Let's rewind back to the first person that told Heidi she had what it take to be a pop superstar. When I first met Heidi, she was doing music, and it was like Ashley Simpson. She had like a real manager at like Untitled or whatever, and they were doing like Ashley Simpson punk rock. And I was like, honey, you're a pop star. Like this is not it. We're going to go see David Foster. And so we drive to Malibu, and I had done Princess of Malibu, and David Foster does not play around. He will look you right in your face and tell you, don't quit your day job. Like you're like he's the original Simon Cowell. Like there's no BS. And so I'm like, let's go see what David Foster says. So he puts Heidi in the booth in his Casablanca house, and they record, and he's like, done. You got tone. I'm like, we're like, what does tone mean? He's like, if you have tone, you can be a superstar. You have tone.
I had to sing all these notes for him. And
Like so when people are like, oh, Heidi doesn't write her own sing, it's like David Foster has like 20 Grammys, and he then took Heidi to Tom Wally, who was the president of Warner at the time, and Tommy Page, rest in peace, the head of A&R, and they cut Touch Me with Cara DeGordia, and they cut Body Language with Evan Bogart, who had just written SOS for Rihanna. So David Foster took his name and brand, and he was doing it. And then that deal fell through because at the time, that was when 360 deals were just starting, and Warner wanted a huge cut of her reality TV money. And we had Michael Jackson's lawyer at this time, Peter Lopez, who's in heaven also. And Peter Lopez was like, you're not signing this. Like, you're a TV star. They're not touching this. So in a different world, Heidi was supposed to be with David Foster, Warner Brothers, and it was just didn't work out. But it's another one of those things where it's like we had so much confidence in Heidi being where she's at right now. It just took 15 years for people to be like, I love her music, and this is great because, we went through years of the train. Like, she cut 100 songs. Like, there's so many songs we don't even have anymore because we couldn't even afford them or whatever. But like, we did the whole process. This is not like a weekend project.
Heidi, have you been taking singing lessons and vocal lessons and training before that?
Yeah, I mean, I took them as a child, and then I was taking them in LA when I even met Spencer. I was already taking voice lessons. Him a vocal coach. He actually was just on Cat's Eye, or what's up?
He was in the Cat's Eye show on Netflix. He was the vocal trainer there.
Vocal trainer.
And I used to sit in the car the whole session, and I was like, this is so boring. But I jokingly said, we better call that dude up because we're going on tour.
I know.
I wanted to get back to the Do-Re Mi.
Yeah. So
Dang. And wow, that is so cool. I didn't know any of that stuff. And Heidi, I've also heard you talk about how when you dropped Superficial, it was such a push and pull because you felt like it kind of got overshadowed in the media by the coverage of your plastic surgery. But now where we are, do you feel like this is just a double full circle moment? Because not only are people more accepting of plastic surgery, but they're obsessed with your music.
Yeah, it's very different for me because then it did get overshadowed by the plastic surgery, and that's all the media wanted to talk about and all they would focus on, and no one was even acknowledging the album that really had come out. There were like very few people, but they were all lined up to talk about it, and they just changed the the conversation, and I understand why. And obviously I was very vocal about it, but that's when I was so shamed for being public about surgery, and it had such a negative backlash, and I lost a QVC deal with my dry shampoo over it, and I lost like several deals, and no one wanted
I got to stop somebody from going TikTok live.
So yeah, there was just like a lot of things that were overshadowed by it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then now that we're focusing on your music, obviously you pull a lot of inspiration from pop. And what about the artists that even Spencer's trying to connect you with, like Bad Bunny now, and then Pitbull, Charlie XCX, that remix that we heard? What are some dream collabs in your brain?
Obviously Taylor Swift is amazing. I do have a collab that I should have by the end of the weekend. And they asked me not to say it because this person wants it to be on their agenda when they like announce it. So I'm really excited because it's huge. And I'm so surprised that this person agreed to pop on. So I'm really, really, really excited about that. Obviously, I love Charlie XCX and I love what she has, her movement. You know, Billie Eilish is obviously amazing. And I feel like they're in the same crew. But yeah, Taylor Swift, you know, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Sabrina Carpenter, anyone totally call. You know, I'm fully available.
Heidi, have there been some people that you or shook have reached out or have commented or reposted?
Um, I think the most is like Emily Rada and Howie Mandel and Alex Earl, Snooki, Paris Hilton. All these people are really posting and supporting us and calling all the people that they influence and their followers and fans to stream the music. So that's just been amazing because we've never even had celebrities and famous people who want to be in the same room with us, you know, let alone standing there and supporting us like that. So that's been incredible.
And Heidi, that interview goes viral all the time of where she tells you like, "Oh, I want to be working at a restaurant." You're like, "And that's your path." What was going through your head when that popped off and you saw everyone kept clipping it?
I was so entertained, especially because there's so many of those moments in the past and no one ever really saw it, kind of went under the radar. And so I'm just always wondering, all right, like what's next? And I wonder, but I love that somebody took that and everybody really latched onto it because everything I said back then was just so negative and they like really ostracized for me and criticized me for it. So it's nice to have the people be able to have their perspective and be vocal about it. Like, actually, you know, Heidi wasn't wrong here. And there is another opinion. And I feel that way. So it's been amazing to have that support in people to kind of recorrect the past history in the media.
Yeah. And just to wrap everything up, thank you so much for chatting with me for this time. But when Heidi does hit #1, what message do you have to everyone that's going to be watching?
Oh, I may collapse. I may be in a stretcher. We're gonna have to have me. I should start. I should get. I'm gonna get an oxygen tank. If we start charting and getting like once, you know, thankfully I've now learned once it gets in, I got some time, so it's not just like because I was also worried about having a heart attack just if it didn't hit #1. So now I've accepted. Okay, it may not be #1 the first week, but I could have multiple weeks once it's in to get it to #1. So I don't know. We'll cross that magical Indiana Invisible Jones Bridge when we get there.
Hey, what do you think?
I'm just concerned with him sleeping. And, you know, okay, you got to sleep. You need water. Like, you got to relax. This is a marathon, not a sprint, you know. So I'm trying to just, you know, remind him we have got life to do too. And we're humans and need sleep. You know,
I know. I feel like that's why you guys balance each other out because Heidi, you're saying it's the journey, and Spencer's like, no, this is a sprint, and we got to get there. And without each other, there wouldn't be this amazing journey to look at from as a fan, and for everything you guys are doing. So again, I know you guys are super busy, and I know you guys are doing the dang thing. I'm so proud of you as parents, as humans, as people of faith, and your humor together, you guys' companionship, Spencer, like your dark humor is getting so many people through it. Heidi, your poise and you staying humble, so many more people than you know are inspired by you too. So I just want to say thank you so much. I can't wait for you guys to come to New York City on tour at Madison Square Garden.
Everyone, make sure you go check out Heidi's billboard right now in Times Square, the Linktree billboard, and send me videos and tag me and dance in front of it. Thank you very much.
They gifted it to me, so I appreciate the gift. Thank you. Like,
we love gifts. It's like
thank you.
The billboard, that was Linktree, I think, right?
Yeah.
The
Sabrina
Linktree.
Carpenter was on it like a couple months ago. That same one.
Yes. And then when are we getting merch?
The merch, there's 3,000 shirts, I think, or 3 or 5,000 shirts were already ordered. They're getting printed, I think, tomorrow. So get ready.
They're coming.
Get ready.
And they're
We
going to
need
be
the link.
discussed. Yeah.
We need the link.
Oh no, you can. They're on prattdaddy.com now.
Oh, already? Okay, already
Yeah,
on. Buy the
yeah,
shirts, the merch. And then we're slowly building up the crystal business back up.
yeah.
And then we're getting the release of the new song. Oh, and then I'll do it. The video just dropped.
Oh, and it's gonna be on iTunes, I think, tomorrow. So we're going after #1 video on iTunes. And then we're working on the Superficial bonus album with like 12 new records. Probably
Deluxe, yes.
gonna drop on the 24th, just like my friend Taylor Swift has taught us.
There you go. And then we did the vinyls. We did the
I don't
merch
know.
packs.
Taylor has bought up the vinyls of the world. It's like there's no vinyls available. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
We need another book, maybe a book, the Patreon, all the things.
Anything you can think of, we can monetize. We're gonna try. I got 400,000 cameos I gotta do. I can't even talk.
Get the kids to work. They can start recording.
They're just gonna give them. Gotta say your dad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You were the first one to push it on the radio and start the challenge, and then everyone's doing it. So when we have our #1 Billboard party, we'll definitely have you there.
We'll have to get
Host
your
it.
phone number.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'll stop texting the person pretending to be you.
Oh, that is so funny. I will. Okay, you guys, I can't wait for everything. #1. I'll talk to you again when you hit #1, okay?
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
From the top of the Empire State Building.
Z100.